Twitter has bots, mis and disinformation, tribalism, dark patterns to keep you hooked on the platform, invasive advertising, inconsistent moderation policies, privacy concerns, and, let's be real people, an annoying character limit. At least I think so. Now that Elon is the new CEO, he's promising fixes to most of these issues, but like honestly everyone, regardless of your stances on Elon, the dream platform he's trying to build already exists, and it's called Mastodon. And let me break down my reasons why I think Mastodon is already Elon's dream Twitter, and why I think most, if not all of you, should at least try it out. First, Mastodon is an open source microblogging platform. Open source means its code and how it works is completely viewable to the public. No bizarre black box algorithms to keep you hooked and push random content to you. But it's not just open source. Mastodon is federated, so there's no central entity or server that's managing everything for you. Everyone has probably used email. With email, you can register for Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, Proton Mail, and you can even host your own email server if you want to. All of which can offer slightly different features and experiences, probably have different terms and conditions, but ultimately, none of this impacts your ability to communicate with other email providers. This is just like Mastodon. Mastodon has countless instances, each of which have their own rules and moderation styles and general demographic targets, but you can still follow anyone from any other instance and microblog and have them view what you post. Now that we've covered what Mastodon is on a broader level, let's cover how it actually deals with Twitter's issues head on. Let's start with one of Mastodon's largest selling points, moderation. Big word nowadays. I actually don't give a if you're a Trumper who thinks you're being victimized because of election results, and I don't care if you're a bottom left vegan who's angry there's no anti-meat policies on Twitter. Mastodon benefits both of you the same way. Here's why. Each instance has its own rules, meaning each instance can more aggressively implement anti-bot technology, or maybe keep it more chill to avoid false positives. Each instance can have relaxed rules behind what you can say or do, or it can be very aggressive against things that it considers hate speech. Each instance gets to clearly define what it considers mis and disinformation, and that means you, this is the important part, you have the choice and ability to join an instance where you feel safe. And if you dislike all instances, you can actually host your own and still interact with all the other instances, all under your own rules. But, and here's the great thing, you don't just have to keep this your little happy place. You're going to still have to follow people from other instances, and there's still a lot of cross-instance timelines that you can use, which is great because the reality is it's healthy to get new perspectives on issues. And so Mastodon really does offer you the ability to have both a safe space while still having moderation policies you can get behind, as well as give you the ability to interact with other instances to still get new perspectives on issues with maybe different policies in place that might open you up to new ideas. And on this note, let's talk about free speech. Elon is Mr. Free Speech, who now is realizing an actual 100% free speech platform with no moderation would be ludicrous, but Mastodon is so powerful. What happens if an instance has true free speech and zero moderation, meaning there can be infinite bot accounts and spam accounts, illegal content of all kinds, and the most extreme speech you can find on the internet? Well, guess what? Instance owners actually have the ability to completely block instances they don't feel should be displayed on their own timeline. This is not super common, as obviously it kind of breaks the whole point of federation, but it does prevent situations where a single instance is responsible for problematic content. It also just so happens that this federated nature of Mastodon can make each community feel much more friendly and less polarizing, while still offering individuals the ability to engage with external instances to still give them the option of avoiding tribalism. Versus Twitter has to rely on a black box algorithm to keep you engaged on the platform, which likely includes dark patterns to keep you on the platform longer. Let's actually cover this a bit more. Dark patterns are a very common tactic used by big tech companies to achieve a certain goal. For example, having to delete a Facebook account is purposely designed to be incredibly challenging to avoid people deleting their accounts. This is a dark pattern. Cookie consent banners that try to hide the reject cookie option is also a dark pattern. When it comes to platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and other social media platforms, all these platforms have direct incentive to keep you on the platform as long as possible. That's the whole reason they exist, because the longer you spend on the platform, the more money they make via advertising. What this means for Twitter is you have an algorithm designed to keep you on the platform as long as possible. It's the entire reason Twitter dropped time-based timelines as the default long ago. Because back then, the way Twitter worked was once you were caught up with all your tweets, you just close Twitter. There's nothing else to see. But now Twitter very intelligently finds new tweets to put in front of you once you're done seeing everyone's tweets to keep you using the service indefinitely. To put it simply, this just does not exist on Mastodon. Mastodon doesn't really have an algorithm. It's just a normal timeline of things that people post. And even if Mastodon had an algorithm, it would be open source. Mastodon also has zero incentive to keep you on its platform as long as possible, and I would argue there should simply be no algorithm on a platform like Twitter. It doesn't do any good for the end user, open source or not, as ultimately an algorithm's purpose is to still keep you on the platform as long as possible, which is not good for the individual in any meaningful way unless they actually want to opt into that system. Now that that's out of the way, ultimately the reason Twitter has to exploit people is because of advertising. Now look, advertising doesn't inherently have to be bad or evil or even exploitive, but with social media platforms, it's caused a lot of issues. We've created an environment that's dependent on advertising since we pay for almost nothing online, everything's free, everything runs on ads, but not all environments have to rely on advertising. In fact, Mastodon has no advertising. Each instance is managed via its own administrators who can establish whatever method of income they want, whether just hosting the whole darn thing for free, which a lot of admins do, but some are actually paywalled behind plans or services which generally come with a better quality Mastodon experience. Regardless, the lack of advertising makes Mastodon a super clean, polished experience that avoids countless other issues that come along with advertising, including impeding your attention, pushing people further into tribes, offering just generally a shitty experience in my opinion. I hate advertising, and most importantly, privacy. Speaking of, let's be real with each other here. If you're posting something public for the world, it's not privacy friendly by definition. With that said, most Mastodon applications don't include invasive trackers. The website itself doesn't do unnecessary tracking. It doesn't require a phone number just to use, which is essentially identification in most countries. It isn't victim to constant privacy and security scandals that don't just put you at risk, but people in very high-risk situations, like whistleblowers and other people who need safety and to be able to use Twitter as a safe outlet. What Twitter has done consistently, make no mistake about this, is prove they have zero care about safety on their platform. And we can make a 10-minute video or probably longer about all of these issues and how it proves they have no care about your privacy and security. But the point stands, on the contrary, there's nothing hidden about how Mastodon works. It's all open source. So not only are Mastodon clients open source, almost all likely devoid of trackers and naturally more privacy respecting, but each instance owner can have different privacy and security policies in place. And if you don't like those policies, again, you always have the option of hosting your own instance and managing all the data yourself with your own rules to protect yourself and others to the extent that you want to. I cannot repeat this enough. Twitter is a privacy invasive platform with countless security issues in the past, and Mastodon is far more privacy friendly with just a fraction of the security issues. Value yourself and your data, people. You can have standards for this stuff, and you do matter. I don't know why people don't think they matter. You matter. I don't know. I shouldn't have to be the one to tell you that. You and your data matters. Now, speaking of standards, we can't forget the actual usability and how nice something is to use, especially since one of the reasons people love Twitter is because of the experience using the service. Now, I'm not here to tell you that using Mastodon is better than Twitter because it's personal preference, unlike most things I've covered so far. With that said, what I will say is Mastodon has some really neat features, like a longer character limit, a huge amount of customizability, custom emojis per instance, a far nicer notification system that gives you finer controls over what you're notified about, and something I haven't actually formally mentioned about Mastodon is there's no formal client you have to use. Anyone, including yourself, can build a Mastodon client that interacts with your account. This is why if you type Mastodon on the App Store, you'll see tons of different clients. This also means there's countless options for you to customize your Mastodon experience if there's something about a client you don't like. And on this note, if you start disliking your instance, again, that's the instance that you sign up for, you can actually switch your instance in just a few clicks. I've switched my instance, and now my old instance profile redirects you to the real one, and it carries over all of your followers, and they don't even notice anything changed. So you ultimately have absolute flexibility and customization over your entire Mastodon experience. Now, I hope that I've sold the idea of Mastodon to you, but before I cover how you can get started and experience this utopia, It's not a utopia, but I think it's better than Twitter. I want to continue keeping it real by covering the issues with Mastodon because I don't think it's a perfect tool. First, it is more confusing than Twitter to fully get a grasp of. I think the learning curve definitely exists, and I disagree with the common Mastodon sentiment that it's super straightforward to grasp how federation works. While it's not complicated, it's objectively more complicated than just signing up for Twitter and gaining access to everything you need after you enter your phone number. Second, less reliability. Maybe overall. You're going to hear debates about this. What I will say, the freedom for anyone to host their own instance means you will get a less globally reliable experience. When the Elon takeover was happening and users were rushing to Mastodon, the largest instance, Mastodon.social, came to a grinding halt. Everything is back to normal at the time of making this video. It's fine. But just know that each instance will have different speeds, different uptimes, and different issues come up. Mastodon, in many ways, can be less reliable. It's not guaranteed to be more reliable than a centralized service. Now that I've shared some of the issues I have with Mastodon, I hope you're still sold on it, and if you are, let's cover how you can try it out. First, choose an instance via the link below. Each instance has its own rules and demographic targets. I encourage people to avoid the Mastodon.social instance since there's just so many other good ones. There's nothing wrong with that instance, but it's the most popular one and it's like, come on, you can be unique. Second, create the account. Third, enable 2FA in your settings as you should for all of your accounts. Fourth, follow some people. They don't have to be in your instance. I highly recommend following us, Techlore, and especially myself. I think I post some pretty cool stuff. If you want more people to follow, that's not just me and our business, there's a project called Trunk, which is a directory of people to follow with tons of different fields and passions. You can find people to follow with really anything you're passionate about if you go to that website. And fifth, look for clients that interact with Mastodon for your devices. I do suggest starting with the official Mastodon clients as just a baseline, but do know that there are lots of awesome third-party clients out there that offer unique experiences you should check out. And to be real with you, I actually didn't like any of the clients, and I actually use Mastodon in my browser, and you can actually add this to your home screen, and I think it's a very clean experience that actually beats every client that I've tried, at least on iOS. But that is personal experience. Again, there's tons of clients you can try out and see which one you like the most. Most. From there, people, you just use it, just like you would use Twitter. It might feel a little empty at first, though. This is because A, you probably have less people you're following, so be patient as you find more people to follow. And a note on that soon, because I'm going to tell you to get people on Mastodon soon. But B, remember, this is a big point. Twitter actively tries to keep you on the platform. Mastodon does not. So this empty feeling is probably just the feeling of there's nothing left for you to check, a feeling that no social media platform wants you to feel. So rather than feeling anxious when there's nothing left to engage with, feel proud and maybe, just maybe, put your device down and go read a book. Or you can get Go Incognito. Now, this is a video about Mastodon, but we actually generally just cover privacy and security back here. And if this is something you care about, which I 100% think you should, it is completely undervalued in our society. And I think that it is going to really catch up to a lot of people. So if you want to be ahead of the curve, I highly recommend checking out our course, Go Incognito. It's completely free to watch on YouTube. There's also a premium version, which comes with quizzes, checklists, a community where you can interact with other people taking the course. You can ask myself questions along the way, and also lots of production improvements to make it a little bit better. Plus, this 4-hour course, we are going to be redoing it soon. And just to be real with you, it's probably going to cost more money once that's done. And so we're actually grandfathering everyone into V2. So you can take V1, buy premium now, and then once you release V2, you're going to automatically receive V2 for free. It's a lifetime thing that we want to offer people. So go ahead and join Go Incognito. It's phenomenal. People love it. It's over 4 hours of fantastic information that took us years to put together. So again, check out Go Incognito down below. There's both a free and premium version. I highly recommend going premium, especially since it supports the free version so people can still get access to the information for free. Now back to Mastodon. To really summarize Mastodon, we can put faith in Elon to fix Twitter, which is, I think, an inherently broken platform, and compromise some of its inherent issues like privacy, advertising, and algorithms with a dream platform, or we can just migrate to a platform that already addresses these issues from the ground up. And if you like it, use it. Most importantly though, you need to share this video around with people you know to get them on Mastodon too, or really whatever method it takes to get them on Mastodon, because the more people we get on Mastodon, the better of a platform it is for everybody. At this point, I would argue the only real selling point of Twitter over Mastodon is the people on Twitter, and Mastodon is already snatching them up. So help the cause and make this the actual dream Twitter that Elon and everyone wants to be. Thanks for watching. I want to thank BRIGHTSIDE, our newest top tier patron who is supporting our work and helping keep all these videos and everything we do completely free for all of you watching this video. If you want to support our awesome content and either show up in our outro down below or be shouted out like BRIGHTSIDE, join our Patreon at patreon.com/Techlore, and see you next time on Techlore. We'll see you on Mastodon, right? Right? Right! Go join down below!